None of them can't stop you. Work 9 to 5. We work 24/7. School of hard knocks. Man, I learn every lesson. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Let's get it. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Let's get it. We work it. We work it. We work it. Let's get it. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Let's get it. Wake up every day. Man, I say let's get it. None of them are a trend. Cause we done settled.
The WRC returns to tarmac. Welcome everyone to Ypres Rally Belgium. Kalle Rovanperä is going to kick us off on the first run of Shakedown, which we'll be broadcasting live. I'm Bex Williams, ready to talk you through it. Alongside me is legendary co-driver Seb Marshall, who's tackled this event numerous times, so he knows everything there is to know about Ypres, and we'll be running through lots of facts and figures with you over the next 30 minutes. Blue skies throughout the day here, but now that we're about to get underway with a late shakedown at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the weather is changing. There's light rain on the stage. The first part of it is quite wet, according to our safety crews that have gone through. Miss Michelle Mouton, who's been through the stage, reporting that it's quite wet at the start. There's light rain at the end of the stage, and this is what we could see first thing tomorrow morning. So, big hello to Seb Marshall alongside me. How are you feeling? You ready for this one?
Good afternoon, Bex. Yes, feeling primed and ready. It's good to be back on tarmac again, and excited to see what the weekend will hold.
And what will the weekend hold? Kalle Rovanperä, Jone Halttunen, championship leaders on the verge of taking their first ever WRC title. Mathematically, it is possible here, but it requires their rivals to have an absolute shocker of an event, something which is probably unlikely. And you can watch it all play out, of course, with us every stage live on WRC Cars. Seb, Ypres Rally then, in a nutshell, you need commitment, you need discipline here. Why do you need those things?
It is an incredible rally. It's very unique, really. Narrow roads, you can see here, farm tracks, very, very little margin for error. There's lots of drainage ditches at the side, opportunities to cut the corner, though, makes so much faster lines, but that brings with it the hazards of gravel, mud if it's wet, pulled out. It's a huge challenge. Many people look at it and think, oh, it's just straight through long straights, 90-degree junctions. It's boring. Let me tell you, it is a massive challenge. And yeah, I think that will be, as you can see here, the damp roads, surface changes is the other thing. So many different variations in grip. It's just one thing after another to think about.
There's nothing quite like it in the championship, I think. It is unique in terms of the challenge that it offers up.
It is, definitely. And it's something which, okay, we were visited here for the first time last year in WRC, but it's previously been, you know, a really sort of mainstay event of the European Championship. So it has perhaps tended to favour local knowledge, local drivers. You know, obviously we've got several local legends competing here this weekend in the lower classes, but the drivers in WRC coming back to this, you know, for the second time, they'll certainly have a bit of knowledge, but it's still plenty of different stages, different conditions this year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, definitely. Oitanak now then second in the championship. Stunning drive at Rally Finland, our last event. I think that win potentially is going to go down in history. He drove the doors off the car. The Hyundai led the event from start to finish, with Thierry leading after the opening stage on Thursday night. Then Oit picked it up Friday morning. First win in Finland for Hyundai, and what a performance from these two.
It was quite phenomenal. I would be willing to bet no one expected that pre-event, and the way that he started the rally straight out the blocks. I think he took most of the time on Rovanperä in that first proper gravel stage. So it was a phenomenal display of commitment and just, you know, just refusal to give in from Tanak when the Toyota started hunting him down.
Yeah, I think it was. And you know, what can he do this time around? He was 6th here last year. What kind of performance are we going to see from Oitanak? He's certainly not the favourite to take the win here this weekend. That goes to his teammate, Thierry Neuville. But I think there's going to be a lot of eyes everywhere. I mean, Kalle Rovanperä has already said he doesn't need any heroics this weekend. He doesn't have to win.
He doesn't, but he will also be looking very closely at the forecast, because if it rains before the first pass tomorrow, then he's in the box seat. He will get the cleanest line through the stages. You can see here the size of these cuts. You're putting half the car, almost a full car off in some places, and that's where Calais running first on the road will have such an advantage if the conditions do turn properly wet, because all the later runners will have that mud and grass to deal with, whereas at least on the first pass of the stages, he's got a nice clean line.
Now, for those of you who have been to the Ypres Rally before, you will recognise this shakedown. We're back to the traditional shakedown stage at Nieuwekerk, which Rovanperä is about to complete. I've stood where those spectators are right there watching, and towards the end here. It's such a great atmosphere around this shakedown. There's so many people pile in to see it. Now, Molly Pettit is at the stage end for us. She'll be chatting to the drivers, so we'll catch up with her in a few moments. But let's turn to the favourites for the win now, according to the vote on WRC.com. Thierry Neuville and Martin Vidal, the last year's victors, of course.
Hello, good afternoon. You have a big championship lead, 5 wins under your belt. What's the feeling about the weekend? Would you like to get a win here in Belgium?
Of course, I always would like to get a win. Let's see. This weekend it's going to be tricky. Already now we saw that the stage was wet in the middle. Hard tire under the car, not easy, but yeah, all good. Let's see how the feeling goes and what we can do.
And finish, please.
Yeah, as he mentioned, he's got the hard compound tyre on. Actually, Solberg has gone with 5 soft.
Interesting.
For shakedown.
Let's see how that works out for him, but it's really, this is the thing, another feature of the rally, it's so patchy, and we've seen they were driving on full wet just a couple of kilometres ago, and here the road is absolutely bone dry.
Yeah.
It's almost like Monte Carlo in that you're never going to be on the right tyre choice if the weather does turn.
It's always a compromise in some way.
Yeah, and obviously the way that the tyres, the soft tyre clearly works better when the conditions are a little bit changeable with the mud. But interestingly, what Tanak did there, running up the curve on the exit, that's quite a well-known thing to do in this shakedown stage. You mentioned before it's been used a lot in the past, and this section, it's interesting to see that even in a Rally 1 WRC car, it's still really tricky to get the car rotated. And I mean, in some ways, the time that you see here, they can have a great run up to that point. The last couple of corners can affect the time in a different way. So maybe don't put too much emphasis on that this week. This shakedown.
4 minutes, 0.3 is the time for Tanak, and it is birthday boy Martin Järveoja alongside him. It's his birthday today for Martin. So we send him all our best wishes as Elvin Evans gets underway.
Too surprised to see me. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Can you give us a little bit of insight into what it takes to be a co-driver here in Belgium?
It's very tricky because the conditions can change very quickly, so it will be tricky.
It will be tricky, and I do have a co-driver alongside me in Seb Marshall, who's done this event 5 times, 5 times, 6 times?
5 times, yeah.
5 times. You know the difficulty level for a co-driver here.
I've not finished it many times, but yeah, it is. The biggest thing for the co-driver here is getting the rhythm. You know, it's really hard to find that consistency because the speed changes so much between the junctions, and then these more technical sections here where you can get into a nice flow. It's punctuated by coming up to a junction and you lose all that kind of speed and sensation. But I mean, it's part of it. You know, the driver's got to adapt, and the co-driver too. Interesting, I noticed that both Thierry and Martin sporting new helmets specifically for this weekend.
Yeah, with the logo of, you know, braver at home.
Certainly worked for him last year. They'll obviously coming into this, as you said, as the favourite for the event.
Absolutely. I mean, it was such great scenes last year. There's not been a win on the board this year so far for Thierry, but he was the same position last year. He hadn't won a rally until he came home to Ypres, and that first win came last year, for that year, and maybe it will happen this time around. He is fastest.
Yeah, it's interesting to see there how he knows that shakedown very well, and he rotated the car a lot of throttle application just going into that final corner, and it saved him probably a second and a half. So these little bits of local knowledge, he had them all up across the weekend, certainly help.
That's Taka Katsuta off the line, and Elvin Evans now then. Let's hear from Thierry first though.
Thierry, it's home rally again. What is it going to take to get another win here? And what has the support been like so far this week?
Yeah, I don't know what it needs, but it's going to be a tricky event. I mean, we have already changing conditions in Shakedown, so that's what we're going to expect for the weekend. But yeah, I mean, we have to have a clean, clever drive through and yeah, try to get a good feeling now on Shakedown and enjoy it tonight and try to enjoy the whole weekend.
I think it's a good thing that we've seen some rain come down here at Shakedown, because that's what we're expecting first thing tomorrow morning.
Definitely, and the crews may not like it initially, but they'll certainly be thankful of it. I think the opportunity to try out those variable conditions as Elvin.
Size of that cut you mentioned, practically a whole car sometimes, and it really was there.
That's great to see the pedal cam there, just to understand how they're using the brakes, particularly on these really fast flat-out sections. There's often just a little bit of a comfort tap on the brake, even whilst the foot's fully planted on the accelerator.
70, flat right 100, left entry chicane.
He didn't use the curb there.
No, and he noticed how it did just lose a little bit of speed there. Couldn't let the car run out wide and make the most of that. But
opens long entry, twist, tight, handbrake left.
And it's also Thierry took the curb on the entry into this little arena section.
Opens middle through
There we go, going to be quite a bit slower.
Yeah, 5.3 off the pace. That section at the end is really quite awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
To, as you say, move the car around in an agile fashion. Craig Breen, Paul Nagel. Let's watch him off the line. Spoke to Taka this week.
Tell us about Shakedown. Is it representative of the rally, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. But there was a section in there which was fully wet, obviously, so took it carefully now on these hard tyres, so not a surprise.
And the feeling for the weekend is?
Yeah, it's generally pretty okay. The car is feeling quite good in here now, so okay.
Bit of an overshoot there for Taka as we were watching while Elvin was chatting with Molly.
Yeah, just a classic case of just locking the tyres in the last phase of the braking just before you releasing to turn into the corner. And yeah, it's easily done, but not too much time lost there. I'm sure we'll see plenty of other drivers with similar misdemeanors across the weekend.
So this is just a replay coming into that sector.
Square right. Square left.
Ah, it was a mistake from, yeah, he said square right.
He did, yes.
And it was the square left.
That's unusual.
It can happen though. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, I'll put my hand up. I've been there. I've done that. It's easily done. And particularly with these junctions as well, they're not arrowed like in other rallies. So they're coming up to it, you are almost blind and have to rely exactly because you can't tell which way the road is going to go. So it's certainly easily done. That little bit of confusion.
Heading now towards this tricky section at the end. It's lovely to see, you know, back there in the fields and up here now towards the end, the amount of people who are lining the stage. It's always been a popular Shakedown, but it feels, especially after last year when there was so many restrictions around the rally, now to see the people back, the atmosphere is back within the city centre as well. It's pretty special. So a small overshoot then for Taka on there. It's 14.6 seconds down from Neuville. He talked about not quite having the confidence he feels he needs coming into this weekend when I spoke to him last night. But he said it's going to be a steady start during Friday to build up the pace.
Taka, good afternoon. Looking for the limit in there?
Huh?
Looking for the limit in there?
Not really. It's okay.
How are you feeling about the weekend? Confident?
No,
No? Why is that?
I just try to get more confidence. This is most biggest aim for me this rally.
Yeah, it's exactly what he said to me last night. You know, we're having a lovely chat. I was like, so, you know, this rally's all about confidence. How are you feeling, Taka? And he was like, not confident.
Well, to the point, he knows what he needs to do.
It's the honesty, isn't it? But you'll watch his progression, as we will, here in commentary over the weekend. Every stage, of course, is live on WRC+. Craig and Paul hoping for a good result here. You know, Craig has had success at this rally previously, but there's so many people who could be on the top step of the podium.
There are, but Craig's almost, not that it's a home rally by any means, but he feels very comfortable here. He's been here so many times, and like I said, tasted success before.
Unbelievably, he's been here 6 times. Unbelievably, he's never had rain. He's had a little bit of drizzle one afternoon, a little bit, but never rain. The sun has always shone on him here.
He's a lucky man then. But, yeah, but, I mean, notwithstanding, he does know how to drive around here, and obviously podium last year. He was in the touch with Thierry for the victory last year until it just slipped away a little bit from him late on the Saturday afternoon. But he'll have high expectations.
I'm sure he will. 4 minutes, 1.5 seconds. Newville is the fastest through right now, the 3:55.3. As we switch to Gus and Jonas.
Craig, second here last year. What sort of hopes do you have for the weekend?
Yeah, hoping for a good weekend. Obviously, it can't go much worse than the last events have gone. So, just need to finish the rally, try and enjoy it, try to get back a bit of the love, because yeah, it's been difficult these last couple of rallies. So, we've had a very difficult test, honestly. So, today is about just trying to find a good feeling with the car and trying to settle ourselves back into it again.
Yeah, they didn't have much success at the test in terms of they didn't have a lot of time in the car, because I'm sure many of you have seen the issues that they had.
The contrast here is really stark, isn't it? With, we saw Gus just off the line before. The wipers were definitely not working on the car there. Didn't need to. Puffs of dust, and yet it's full wet down the southern end of the stage. Like I say, all these drivers on the hard tyres, it's so tricky. And I think there will be plenty of them that are quite happy just to roll around, get a bit of experience, but they're not going to be pushing to the maximum here.
I asked DP yesterday, seeing as the organisers have changed the route quite substantially this year. They reversed a lot of stages. We have a new stage within the event as well. You know, are there more cuts this time around than you've experienced before? Are there less? And he said, there are way more. He said, I may as well just write in my notes where there isn't a cut because there is just so many. He said they're everywhere. But that's what you expect here. That's what the rally is all about. Second fastest then for EP with a 3:58. As we switch to Oliver Solberg, who is on the soft compound Pirelli tyre here. There's Solberg then away. We wait to hear from Esa-Pekka at the end of the stage. And he'll be there with Molly very shortly. Tyre choice is going to be huge this weekend, isn't it? Because we know there's, well, I say we know. No one ever knows if the rain is going to come in, but we're hearing a lot of talk of rain tomorrow morning, and it could be quite heavy in parts, or it may completely miss us. So that is going to be such a headache for the crews.
It is massively, and despite all the stages being really close proximity to Ypres, they are clustered in a quite a wide sphere in terms of some to the west, some to the south, some to the east. So it could well be that stage one is completely soaked and the others are bone dry. So it's tyre choice on any tarmac rally is always hard work, but here's, like I said before, there's so much variation in grip and surfaces and so many factors to consider that it is going to be one of the features and talking points of the weekend, like particularly tomorrow.
Yeah, particularly tomorrow morning, absolutely. And then, you know, if we do get the rain, the second pass with potentially the mud or the dirt that's been pulled out.
This is it. Once it's rained once during the week, it usually sets the tone, because even if there aren't cars driving, the mud will get washed off the fields. Yeah, the fields are right next to the road here. And even if that dries, it then becomes dusty, and you get a kind of almost gravel effect of sweeping the road clean. So I think from Calais' point of view, first on the road, the only position where as Gus just struggles on that final corner. Yeah, the only position where Calais will be beneficial is if it rains. Jonas just saying difficult. think he summed that one up quite well.
Yeah, Gus said not ideal. We'll hear from him with Molly.
Gus, a bit unlucky, unfortunately, in last year's edition of this rally. How ready, how confident are you feeling about this one?
I've never driven here when it's been raining, so first time on slick, I was very careful in there just to kind of learn what it's like, but all seems okay.
Yeah, he mentioned that today in the press conference, you know, that he's always been here under sunny skies as well, dry conditions, and yeah, when it rains, it completely changes the complexion of the rally.
I can vouch for that. One of the times I didn't finish this event was in the pouring rain. we became a victim of a very slow speed slide into one of the deep ditches you can see lining the road here. Just, yeah, got caught out in the mud. And
well, that's exactly what happened with Gus last year. Went into the ditch last year, unfortunately, and Adrian Formeau also had quite a big incident on this event. But he said that, the strategy here, again, from him is to get to the end of the event. I asked him today, how difficult has it been trying to rein in the speed to finish the event, knowing that, the season didn't get off to the best of starts from him. His strategy completely changed, just bring it home every event. And he said, it's been hard, but it's working.
This is it. It won't be pleasant, but it's something he had to do. And I think he drove a really mature drive in Finland. He knew he had to just bank that experience and rein himself in. And I'm sure he had high hopes here last year, of course, and like you just mentioned, didn't go at all to plan, and I'm sure that'll temper his expectations this weekend as well. You see there already what we're 10 cars in.
Solberg just at the stop control. It's a 4 minutes 1.4 for Oliver.
Oliver, first Rally Belgium in a WRC car for you, off the back of some difficult events. Tell us the plan for the weekend.
Oh, well, first of all, it's the finish. Okay, Finland is forgotten now. It's been tough, but I mean, you just need to move forward and work, and that's it. And yeah, okay, it's quite different now on tarmac, but yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a very tricky weekend for sure with the weather and everything. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for Oliver, it's a case of building back up. Now, as he said, Finland's behind him, and I asked him yesterday mentally how was he feeling, and he was like, look, it's fine. He said, I know I have, work to do, and I'm ready to do that, and I just want to get on with the rally.
It's interesting to see the contrast here of the cuts that Adrian's taking in this drier section. A little bit dusty, but it's not too much pollution on the road, whereas earlier on, just a minute or so earlier in the stage, where the road is wet, the amount of mud that's being pulled out, we'll maybe see it on one of our next runners, that in that wet section just highlights how much dirt and mud is pulled out.
Yeah.
Whereas here, okay, it compromises the grip a little bit, having this piece of the earth and the grass on the tarmac, but it's nowhere near as detrimental.
You've been here a number of times with a number of different drivers as well, haven't you? Harry Hunt, Molly Taylor, Kevin Abring.
Yep. Seen
all different experiences.
All, yeah, something different on all of those going on, yeah.
I think one thing which is difficult to pick up from here right now, because we're very much watching the action, but the one thing that Ypres is absolutely famous for is the incredible atmosphere here. We are based in the city centre with the service park. There's so many fans. So many casual fans as well. It's an amazing way for people who know nothing about rallying to get up close and personal with rally cars. Let's have a chat with Adrienne.
Adrian, it's time to give the Ypres Rally another go this year. How are you feeling about the weekend?
Yeah, it's really nice to be here on this rally, and it's really nice to be back also on tarmac. It's a really slippery tarmac, honestly. So we need to find the confidence, but it will come. I just need to understand it was good for confidence to just have a clean one.
Yeah, it's been a while. Obviously, we've had a lot of gravel events. It's been a while since Croatia, earlier in the year for tarmac.
And of course, that was the main talking point of Croatia was the weather there as well, wasn't it? It was very, very wet again. So Yeah.
It's been 10 years since Andreas Mikkelsen has competed here. 2012 was the last time. And he said nothing was familiar to him on the recce. Stage-wise, obviously, you know, in the town centre, yes.
This is probably the only section that I think everyone remembers the shakedown in this particular event. But yeah, it's going to be a great weekend for WRC2, isn't it? With Andreas back after missing Finland as part of his plan all along. So there's a huge amount of potential winners here.
There are. You know, we could just look at the fact that we've got Johan Rossell here, Greisen's here, Houtenen's back in a Rally 2 car. Lefebvre, I think, is definitely the one to watch. He's leading the Belgian Rally Championship right now. He's had a dominant season, and I think he could be pretty special this weekend.
Definitely. He certainly knows his way around these lanes, having competed here for many years. So.
Yeah, absolutely. He told me today his first rally here in Ypres was when he was 3 years of age, spectating, 1985.
Wow.
I know. Andreas Mikkelsen completes then with a 4:15.5. Johan Rossell off the start for us.
Andreas, it's good to see you back. I believe it's a decade since you did this rally last. How is it to be back?
It's nice to be back. It was a tricky stage. It was quite wet and very surprising. With the hard tire, not so easy. But we got a feel for what can happen tomorrow and for the rest of the weekend. So good to be back, but it will be a tricky weekend.
Andreas, 10 år siden du var här.
I think tricky is one of the words that probably is going to be the most frequently said. I know it comes up quite a lot anyway, but
Are we playing bingo this weekend again? I'm not sure. But,
I think we just need a count on how many times tricky is said. That, you know, someone could go through the roof with that.
Yes.
Who says it the most during the weekend? Hashtag tricky. Yeah, Johan Rossell, who's fantastic on tarmac, but also on gravel as well, as he proved last year.
Definitely.
Huge success in 2021 for Johan Rossell.
I'm right in saying he was the winner of WRC3 here last year, so yeah, he'll carry that confidence. Oh, we've got another fantastic FX camera here of the bottom part of the suspension, or they're looking towards the steering arm in the foreground.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice angle. It's horrible to say, isn't it? But if something actually goes wrong, you can visually see it happening.
Thanks.
How many times do we hear steering arms breaking, though? But yeah, I'd like to actually see that happen. Not with you, Johan Rossell, not with anyone, but you know what I mean.
Let's hope that's not the commentator's curse.
Oh, mate, I hope not. But great
As a
angle.
former competitor,
Moving
I'm going to tell you off for that. That's the kind of stuff we don't like to hear.
Moving on. Jari Huttunen now. There's a Rally 1 car in Finland. It's back to Rally 2 here.
And now Jari's thinking, this feels quite different. Even on tarmac,
sure.
there's more grip, but wow.
I am sure. Hugely different experience.
Johan, good to see you back with us. It was a win here in Belgium, WRC3 last year, also a win back in Croatia on tarmac. Feeling pretty confident about the weekend?
Honestly, the feel is good. It's not the most easy shakedown. Honestly, it's completely tricky condition. We will see tomorrow, but yeah, I am motivated. The car worked very well, and I'm happy to come back in WRC. We will see.
Just a few words in French.
Yeah, it's good to see him back, and I'm sure he is going to be on form during the weekend. Time for him, a 4:16.1. Mikkelsen was 4:15.5. Look at the weather now. I mean, it's, you know, it just feels like the shower's just passed through, hasn't it? Happily, you know, done its thing on the stages and moved away. You'll be able to keep in contact with exactly what the weather is doing throughout the weekend with us on WRC Plus.
Vasen täys ja oikein täys 8. Jouhevasen helppo 8, oikein täys miinus 100.
The high-speed sections here, even in the Rally 2 car, it's full commitment, and then trying to pick your braking point for this hidden slot to the left really tricky. You know, there won't be so many obvious braking marks in the wet. You know, obviously in the dry, sometimes you get the rubber from the tyres being laid onto the ground, and it's a bit easier for the later runners to see, right, okay, that's the point to stamp on the brakes. But yeah, in the wet, that doesn't really happen in the same way. So that corner there was full of mud as well. Tricky with quite a big bump in the cut, which is another feature of the stages here. It's not like when you're putting the car off the road, it's a clean off the road, back on the road. There's often bumps in the cuts, or steps is something which is a big feature with the punctures.
It's interesting you should mention that. Freddie Loix, who's won this event 11 times, told me today when I asked him what the secret of success here in Ypres is, he said it's getting onto the cuts but coming out of the cuts successfully.
Rejoining.
Without doing any tyre damage, without doing any damage at all. Rejoining the road after a cut.
And because it is so easy just to graze the inside of the tyre and bend the rim, because there's quite a big contrast between the drop off, and it is definitely a skill, and you can kind of barrel into the cut thinking, oh, this is great, I'm gaining loads of time, but actually you're better off either not cutting at all in some places, because it is so dangerous to potentially damage the tyre.
Freddie said very humbly, he said, I seem to have done that quite well over the past 15 years.
The master of understatement.
Yeah, absolutely, Freddie, you have. You know, for these younger drivers, especially drivers who don't have a huge amount of experience of the Ypres Rally, there's so many people they can call on this weekend to chat to get advice from. Patrick Snares is also here. He's done this event 36 times and has won it 4 times.
Wow. I mean, there can't be many people who have done any rally that many times, I wouldn't have thought.
No. When he's multiple Belgian champion, he knows exactly how to handle the roads here. But yeah, this is his 37th attempt at the event. And he said many drivers have been in contact with him. Sammy Paryery, one of them, he picked out. He said, I've got to give Sammy a call later. He said, but, you know, he is one of my rivals, so I'm not sure how much info I'm going to give him.
Smart guy, though. Just, learning from the best already.
Absolutely. Stéphane Lefebvre, then. I'm really keen to see what Stéphane can do this weekend. Great livery on this car.
I was just about to say that's a fantastic paint scheme he's got on his vehicle.
Listening to Andy.
Gary, I'm sure it's a bit strange to be back in this car. You had a win here in WRC2 last year. How would you describe this rally?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange to come back with this car, but let's see. It will be a difficult rally, I think so, and especially if the weather changing, then it's really extremely hard. But yeah, try to enjoy and that's all.
And it finishes.
It does feel like, you know, many drivers have said this weekend, every corner, you know, we're going from corner to corner here, and they're all just cut.
It's interesting as well to see, obviously, as was the case last year, running the event in August. Traditionally, it was always a mid-June rally, and we've seen that the crops are in a different sort of phase of their growth or harvesting. One section just before, really kind of like tunnel vision through crops both sides. Others have completely gone, and the sight lines are very different through the corner. So even if you've got notes from a previous year, things can look quite different coming back to it this year if the farmer's been busy already.
And there we go, Stéphane Lefebvre through.
That's a monster time.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's 10th fastest. So it's a 4:09. I think he's kind of laid down the intent just with run 1 of Shakedown.
I mean, that's almost a second a kilometre. That's that's a stunning benchmark from Stéphane.
A mighty run. Let's hear from him with Molly.
Stéphane, it's great to see you back in the championship. That's an incredible time on Shakedown, but I also saw that you're leading the Belgian championship. That must be why, huh?
Oh yeah, I don't see it before. Yeah, I'm confident, and we know quite well this rally, so I do what I need to do, and when I know, so yeah, no more.
There we go. The confidence is there for Stéphane Lefebvre. Let's take a look, shall we, at the classification then. After run 1 of Shakedown, Thierry Neuville fastest through, 3:55.3 with a lappy 2.7 behind that time. Then Rovanperä, Tanak, Evans, then Solberg, Breen, Formeau, Greensmith and Lefebvre, the 10th fastest there with a cracking time in the WRC2 category. Katsuta, Huhtinen, Mikkelsen, Russell and Grierson there. Now, thank you very much to Seb Marshall, my expert co-commentator here. We're going to head down, Seb Marshall, well, we're not personally, but everyone else is around the world, to the centre of Ypres to join Kiri and Julian.
In the centre of Ypres, indeed, and the rain is coming down. It's just a small amount of rain, but could it be the setting for tomorrow? Julian, if it rains, it's going to be a whole different rally, isn't it?
It is a different rally if it rains. It's really demanding, it's really tough, and just things like this surface we're on here, like kind of like cobblestones, it is very, very changeable, very, very intermittent. We were talking to Chris Patterson yesterday, who he's got good connections here. His wife's from this area, so he knows this area very well, and he says some places it just feels like ice when it rains, and if this comes down, I tell you what, but they reckon it's coming for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we heard Elvin Emmons
and Gus saying that. It's going to be really dodgy and tricky for them.
Well, are you ready for the
sketchy? Apparently, I just did some interviews with the drivers.
They said sketchy.
A couple of hours ago. 2 of them said sketchy. One was Irish, one was Finnish. And it's like sketchy seems to be the new in word.
All right, okay. Well, good to see our local hero, Thierry Neuville, go through Shakedown first and fastest. It's what we sort of expected to see from Thierry, but I wonder if that's what's to come.
He would hope so, yeah. He would. As you say, it's what we kind of expect to come, and I think what we saw in that Shakedown was exactly what we've just been talking about the weather. You know, dry, wet, dry, and just this kind of like ever-changing conditions. And those cuts that we could see, they're dry now, but as soon as you start getting a bit of damp into them and that mud starts to get pulled out, and you've just then got to commit to that line. But yeah, I mean, for the locals, it'd be great if Thierry Neuville and Martin Vidager won again. You know, it would be great, but there's a couple of people want to stop them, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure, indeed. OK, well, Taka had a little bit of a moment, not actually through his own fault there, a bit of a left, a right, then instead of a left, was it?
But you and me can totally relate to it. We've been dyslexic. And Aaron called junction right. So Taka turned right. That is the total belief in what the co-driver says. Even though there's tape across there, Aaron has told him to turn right, so he's turning right. And so, but the thing is, the key thing here though, Kiri, is there is hundreds, if not thousands of junctions on this rally. And that just shows, you know, either get out of sync a little bit, just get slightly confused with where you are, junction right. Oh, no, we're going left. And this is a perfect example of how much trust is in the driver believing what the co-driver's telling him. He turned right, even though there was tape across the road, because that tape could have blown now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he turned right. But my point is there's a hell of a lot of junctions here.
Yes.
A lot of junctions. 1, getting your braking right. 2, making sure that you are turning right when you're meant to be and left when you're meant to be. So, but that just signals it, and that'll just wake him up a little bit of. Yep.
Yeah, and also Julian hates my saying, but it's true, isn't it? If the worse the wedding, the better the marriage. So let's use Shakedown as the wedding.
Okay, yeah.
And then
okay,
the rally's going to be
enough.
the marriage. They've got all their troubles out the way, so absolutely no worries there. Okay, well, the first stage starts tomorrow morning. There's 8 stages in total, 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. And the first of those stages is going to be super, super fast. It's just under the 12K mark. So, Julian, as they sort of prepare, someone like Kalle Rovanperä, he's going to be sort of thinking about the win again. That's what he doesn't need it, though. So how's he going to be getting ready for tomorrow?
He'll spend most of his morning looking up there. I mean, you now look at it, the sun's now trying to pop out. It's still raining. The sun's there. And when the sun comes out, it's absolutely red hot. But first on the road, he has the cleanest possible road. Now, when they recce'd, there was a little bit of dampness around in places, not all the places, but a little bit. Now, when they've cut the corners, they will just pull potentially some dirt or dust out.
Yeah.
Now, that dust now, if it rains, could become mud. If it rains a lot, it'll clean the road up.
Okay.
But if it only rains a little bit, it'll become very, very, very slippy. So for me, first on the road, as Seb Marshall said in there, first on the road is the box seat. It is the place to be when it's raining. But you are finding out everything for everybody else, you know?
For the first time, yeah. Okay, well, we just talked about what's going on Friday. Let's have a look at those exact times of the stages. So stage 1 starts early on Friday morning. Well, not too early. It's a comfortable start, let's say, stage 1 at 10:16. Then it's stage 2, 3 and 4 to follow. Now, it's an exact repeat in the afternoon, so it'll be interesting to see what state those stages are in. 3:15 right the way through until 5:53. So that is how it's all shaping up tomorrow for you, a midday service and a media zone. And again, in the evening, we'll be talking to those drivers as well. But for myself and Julian, it's all on tomorrow morning. We'll see you there.